Something that's not spoke much about on the internet. Stanced cars. Now I'm going to talk about my favorite stanced cars, and these are normally indicated because of the fitment. So here's a list of some of my favorite stanced cars in GTA 5. The Deity. You'll see on a lot of these cars on the list that you have to do the stance method, and it's something that I actually enjoyed. There was some work that you had to put in the car, but with the Deity, all you do is put it on the lowest suspension setting, and then the car slightly cambers, and the fitment is so good. It is a bit tucked in because of that camber, but that's just so the tire doesn't glitch through the fender or anything. What an astonishing looking car. I still love mine. The Stainer. It's been a discreet car in the car community. I mean, it has no options. It doesn't even have suspension options for the vehicle, but it does stance really well. For those of you who don't know how to lower, I'll tell you quite briefly. Make sure you have no bulletproof tires on your car, and shoot where you see me shooting on specific cars. A lot of cars are different, and a lot of newer cars just can't stance. The Stainer is one of my favorite cars to stance. Now, this is the only type of unofficial modification you can do. I've even put this car as thumbnails just because of the shocking sight of this vehicle. Like, it's a normal pedestrian car that you can get free off the street, and look what you can do to it. Oh, I've also put low grips on it, but yeah, look what you can do to it. The Asterope GZ. This is confusing because nowadays Rockstar are not allowing you to shoot cars to the wheel and stance them. The newer vehicles, most of them can't stance with this method. But for some reason, the Asterope GZ not only reminded everyone of a first gen GTA car, it also had the physics of one, and you could lower this thing by the shooting method. When this came out, that was the only method. They didn't add the suspension options until later. And then look at the stance. It just reminds you of a 2013 GTA car. The Cognoscenti, another one that's legendary in GTA 5. I was in GTA 4, we all remember going across the map to get this car. And a car that surprisingly has a great stance as well. We're going to shoot here to lower it, and you can see how low the car gets. So if you do want a better fitment, don't go for the lower suspension as I have, because your wheels will tuck underneath. There you are. The fitment is surprising. You are going to get a lot of glitching through the fender, but you can understand at this height. I think it's one car that's overlooked for styling, and it really shouldn't be. The Omnis GT, I'm not gonna lie. This car, you don't really need to do much with it, but it does have a little sacrifice, like many new cars do have. So the wheel is near enough flush with the arch when you have it on stock height, but the lower and lower you get, the more cambered the wheel is, and then the more tucked the top of the wheel gets. But for being stock, look at the stance on this thing. It is actually incredible. And like when I go to car meets and there is some sort of theme like stance cars or good looking cars, this has to be there. I know it's electric, I know it now has that scrape on it. You can't deny that this is not a good looking car. Sometimes there's cars like the Taycan, which is the neon in GTA, they by default look good and they have to be electric, and looks is something that's lacking in the EV department. The Turismo R, a car that just keeps getting mentioned on this channel, and it used to always get mentioned because of the looks, the price, the update on the car, and this actually is one of the more nicer stanced vehicles. To stance it, you need to make sure first your rear hood is open, and then you need to shoot it stance, and then later on close it. If you don't do that, your hood will just pop up and it look damaged. This thing gets really low to the ground. One thing I love about this is the physics. The body scrapes if you go over bumps, and it just has more realistic physics than other cars. Then neon, and you could truly see the difference between this high up and then this stanced. I am going to use the minigun method once again, and look, this is one drop and then this is the second drop. I want to get all the way around. It does get lower. Fitment on this is impeccable, and there we have it. This thing, although it's an electric car, although it's not what the petrol heads prefer, you can't say that this looks bad in any way. I mean, look at it. Look how much the arch flares out and then the wheel still fits. Look at where the edge of the rim nearly meets the fender. And it's another car that doesn't go any lower than this. So if you do hit a curb, it just harshly goes on the curb. So it's almost like it just crashes onto the curb. And then driving this, it's still stable and still good. Obviously because it's all-wheel drive. But it does have a rear wheel bias. So it does kick out when you lower the car. I watch this turn. I might crash it, but yeah. It's actually a lot easier than it looks to control. It looks like I'm spiraling out of control, but it's just this car. It's so good when it kicks out of controlling it, but not when it's in midair though. The Comet Retro, I feel like it's getting more slept on. People are not bringing it out as much as they used to. First of all, I need to change these wheels. I'm going to change it back to the Cosmo Mark II, so I'm just going to put anything on for this video. The thing is, this car has a lot of torque, so you don't want them rear wheels spinning even more. So you lower it once from the rear with competition suspension, the lower suspension, and this is where you shoot to lower it. There we go, once in the rear, and then we do it twice from the front. Now, if you lower it twice from the rear, you'll notice that your tire will poke through the fender, just like we're starting to see in the front here. And when we get in, it should, yeah, there we go, raise up a bit. I love the Cosmo Mark IIs on mine. I love it having a bit more thicker tire wall. And when we're driving this, you can still see that back tire just coming through the fender quite a bit. You'll realize with the later cars, they fix the car from going any lower, but with the Comet Retro, no matter, even if it's stock, even if it's even at a stock height, if you hit a curb or something long enough for a bump, you'll see the tire come through the back arch. But yeah, you definitely want the grip to remain when lowering this car. I think the Schlagen GT is one of the best looking cars in the game, period. Like, I just think it's a great representation of the AMG GT. When this released, there was only the first gen AMG GT, and I actually thought this was a better model than the first gen. It looks better in my opinion. But then you can actually lower this by shooting it. You know, this is shortly before Rockstar stopped giving cars that damage physics that lowers it, because that's what it is. Rockstar didn't leave these shooting lowering methods for you to lower the car. It's a damage physic. When you crash and that wheel gets damaged, it dips down a bit. But look how nice, sleek and stance this thing looks. Now, my opinion of this one car has changed over the years. Every year I just like this thing better and better. The design, how much energy Rockstar put into this thing. A lot of people say it's built off different artists' drawing and vision, but this thing looks amazing and it can lower quite a lot anyway. I am not helping it with the tuner wheels here, but you just shoot here all around like I have been doing with a lot of the cars. But I stick with these wheels. I love them. I think they look correct on this car, even though the tuner wheels. And as you can see, if they had street wheels or sports wheels or any other wheels, you'll be able to get this looking a lot more stance. But this is the fitment I like. This car just touches the floor. Like on certain areas of the ground, it goes through the ground, especially when you're braking. But you can't tell me that does not look nice. Another car that would just be a legend, GTA 6. I'm in a big dilemma. Like, I want more realistic cars in GTA 6, but I want these old cars as well. I don't want the Coquette to not be in GTA 6. Look at the stance of this car. Like the lip defend. You know, there's certain builds in GTA that if you did this setup in real life, people would applaud you. Like, that is some good fitment. And I think when you lower this car, it does add a lot of character. That back end comes out slightly. And it is a twitchy car, so make sure your back end doesn't come out too much, because I'll give you an example here. It just snaps. But look at the side of this car, the profile of this car, the way this car's shaped, it looks like it should be a stance car. It is a bit tucked compared to other vehicles on this list, but I don't think it should discredit this car. Look at it. It is a beautiful car. Now, I hate doing this to a rally car, especially something that's built off the Stratos, but you will be surprised with the fitment on this thing. Now, you want to make sure you open the trunk and the hood, and then the rears, just shoot here. You can see it drop twice, and the front, you can shoot around here. We're inflicting less damage doing it this way. So if we shot it around here, first of all, we'd shoot the panel of the car, and it will blow up with this vehicle. I wouldn't say there's an art to lowering cars, but there's definitely a method, and that method can sometimes be frustrating and random. Although it doesn't look great right now, watch when we close all the doors. Look at that. Wow. Look at the camber on this thing. Look at the stance. This looks like it's no longer a Stratos, it's a wide body like sports car. This looks like it was made for the stance scene. You do jeopardize on the handling, but as you guys know, these cars handle great as well, so it doesn't feel like a car that's uncontrollable. And one thing I love about this is the suspension travel. If you watch this car jump, you'll see the suspension travel, and then it's like an SUV. The wheels are always touching the ground no matter how much the car lifts up. The Bullet, look at this thing, a car from a different era. Look at the rear wheel being bigger than the front wheel. It just doesn't seem like a recipe that is good for stance, but this is one of my favorite stance vehicles, or vehicles with good fitment. Now I'm going to show you how sensitive this car is. So normally I've told you guys I always like shooting here, But look how sensitive this car is. I'm going to shoot it once, twice, and it blows up. So this is one car you need to be attentive of when lowering. So the way you get around that, for the rear, you shoot it around here, which is a crazy like invisible barrier. And then the front, you just shoot here, or you can actually shoot it here too. And if you want the least amount of damage, I would suggest shooting it here. And I wouldn't suggest being this close as well. You'll probably pop your tire. So yeah, the Bullet is definitely a car that's not simple to lower. A lot of people nowadays still don't even know how to lower this thing. They'll drive with the car smoking. They won't even bring it to a car meet because they'll just give up. But once you're done, once you've got through lowering this thing, it's definitely worth it. Look at it, it just has a different presence to anything in the game. And the history of the Bullet is legendary GTA. So the Adder, one of the only few cars that actually poke out more when you select a different wheel. So you can see the wheel comes out. When I say poke, I mean the wheel comes out of the arch. And that's something to take in consideration. Not many cars do that. Again, we are on the lowest suspension setting, and we can just lower it shooting in the middle of the wheel. You'll be able to see on the second drop the actual arch going through the tire. Can you see that? Yeah. You get that from the front and the rear. So this vehicle definitely comes with a great stance when it comes to the wheel setup. But so many cars are tucked in the arch. This is the one of only few that are not. We're taking it back to the old school, the Elegy RH8. Still a legendary car, gets more and more desirable. But the one thing I do love about the Elegy is the launch on it. And I say that because we are going to be lowering it. As I've said earlier, lowering it does get rid of that grip level. Now, I love launching this car because it's almost like it lagged. The launch is so fast that people will think you're lagging on launch. And that's one key element that I like about this car. So when you lower it, do take that in mind. Who cares? We're doing this for looks, hella. And again, you know, please don't follow in my footsteps here, lowering with a minigun. I just know which cars can lower with a minigun and which cars can't. But yeah, this is one of the traditional cars which you can just lower, shooting in the middle of the wheel. And the cars that I can lower with a minigun are more durable cars. But look at this thing. It is a bit tucked, especially the rear with the wider arches. But you can still launch the car, but it's not as great. It's still stupid. Like, this must be one of the fastest 0 to 20 cars. You are going to confuse all your friends. Yeah. But anyway, a lot of people are probably going to ask about this color wave. It's a little thing you do with a chameleon color, and then you put an original color. So you keep the chameleon pearlescent, and then you have the original color underneath the chameleon underneath the chameleon pearlescent. Here's Hella putting the Jackal in another video. Hella, why are you putting the Jackal? It's known for handling. It's known. We get it. You like it. But this has got a really surprising stance. I mean, you can already see, whilst the car's not lowered, like how much the wheels already poke out. It's weird. This is a civilian car. So once you lower the car, which you can do the normal method, you realize that this car pokes out too much. If we look at the rear, yeah, we're not got the best lip to arch ratio, but if we look at the front, it chops through the tire. Like, the wheels poke out that much that we got the arch poking through the tire. And there we go. Although we don't have the best of fitments, we have the strangest of fitments. We have a wheel that pokes out so much that if we actually pop the front tire, you'll see the actual rim coming out of the arch, which is rare. What car do you see that on in GTA? The rim coming out of the tire, or the tire coming out. Not an SUV or anything, a car. And then coupling that with the reason I love this car, is the handling. It makes this car fun to drive. When you lower it, the back end kicks out. The front grips way more than the back anyway. But then when you lower it, the handling gets confusing but realistic. And then once these are popped, I can show you what I mean. Look, the rim is coming out. The rim is literally out of the arch, and not by a little much. That's like 1.5 to 2 inches. You guys have seen me drive this a lot, the Windsor, and a lot of people agree in my video that it's such a great car. And it also lowers great as well. The stance on this car, look at it, gets straight down to the lip. But when we lower the other side, you'll see that it's not as perfect as that. There we go, we lower the other side. It's perfectly on the lip, but get the car fully lowered and it shouldn't be like that. There we go. Look at the stance on this thing. Of course, you're going to get that glitch through the fender, but look, it's gone a bit in now. a bit through the inner arch. And then this is one of the better cars to lower because, you know, you don't want to speed in this thing. But then again, if you're in free mode, you want to speed. And from the video where I talked about what to buy, I said this car's got an amazing waftness. Yeah, that kind of goes away once you lower it. So it doesn't waft over bumps anymore. It wafts when you go down the bump. It doesn't waft anymore when you go over the curbs or anything. And that's obviously because you've lowered it. And now there's no suspension travel. But what a cool detail for Rockstar to have in place. Did you guys like that? And let me know in the comments what you guys see as a nice stance car. I feel like I missed a lot out. There's so many in GTA. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next one.